Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to the YI National Conference 2018. Well, what an amazing conference this actually turned out to be. And as previously stated, this is our largest ever YI National Conference. And from what I've seen today and the people I've spoken to, this has been the event with the most YIers ever present. So it's such an accomplishment, and I'm so proud to be your YI National Chairman during this time. I do have to say before I carry on that this amazing event could not have been possible without our very own YI Events Officer, George Pykov. George has done an amazing amount of work over the past couple of months. I mean, you have no idea how hard it is to actually organise a conference like this and organise it with the amazing speakers that we've managed to get. So, thank you so much, George, for today. Now, what I'm going to speak about is the young independents that I inherited when I took over, and where we are now, because there is a huge difference. You couldn't recognise what this youth wing is now compared to what it was. And it has been touched on by a few of my exec in their speeches. When I took over YI, we was roughly around 800 members, and that was at the start of the year, at the very lowest. And now we have increased, I think it was 136% or more. We've got over 2,000 members now, which is excellent. As Sebastian said before, when we took over, finances were dire. We are now extremely stable. We are getting a profit on literally everything that we do, and we've got enough money to continue events like this and have a lot more in the future. So that's brilliant. Another thing, when I took over, the main party sort of lost its faith with its youth wing. There was no support from the leadership, from the NEC, from head office, none of it. And when it came to the grassroots members, you could speak to any branch in any region and ask them to explain what YI is or who are YI. And you'd always get the same answer. You'd get toxic. Constantly, you'd hear it all over the country. And I'm now proud to say that has changed under my leadership. The main party support us. They supported us financially and morally, especially thanks to our new chairman, Kirsten. We've got youth representation on the NEC now, thanks to the support from the youth wing and from certain regions who feel the youth need representing within our party. And I have been pushing for a Youth Affairs spokesman ever since Paul Nuttall became party leader, and I will continue pushing it with Gerard, and I'll continue after Gerard. We as a party need to stand up for today's youth. When it comes to the millennials, most of the time it's already a lost battle, right? Because they're the ones who are, who's never lived under a socialist government, who don't understand what, when socialist countries leave socialism and go towards capitalism, they don't understand it, but yet they're the ones who want a communist government. So that's millennials. What we want is we want to be targeting the ages of from 15 to 25, 26. Because when I'm out going around to schools, colleges, local areas, when I'm knocking on doors campaigning, I hear the same thing from young people. They're just not interested in politics. I ask them why, and they say because no one is talking about the issues that affect me. No one is talking about youth issues. No one represents them. And I always say, well, What about Jeremy Corbyn? And it's the ones who are between that age who realise what he's saying is a fantasy. They are aware of it, and that's why they're not voting for anyone, not even Labour. They say, and I mentioned the student fees, because that seems to be a main thing, and they always say, we know it's just a way for them to gain votes. They saw it with the Lib Dems. The Lib Dems promised to cut tuition fees, and what did they do? Increase them. It's a fantasy, and it's never going to happen. But a Youth Defer spokesman for our party, which should be the democratically elected Young Independents National Chairman, because they have a mandate to speak on behalf of the young people within our party. If we had one of those, we could travel the country, we could speak to the national media, we'd have a profile, and we'd be able to tell them the issues that are facing them, we'd be able to listen to them, and we'd be able to tell them a solution. We'd be able to help them out. Because young people are a lot more responsive when they're having a communication with someone their own age, rather than someone who's 50 or 60 telling a 15-year-old what his issue should be and how his issue should be solved. It's not going to happen. Because if that happens, young people, it goes in one ear, out the other. Whereas if you're a similar age, you can actually have a dialogue. You can understand each other. So that is something that I will be pushing.